Rich man laughs at poor boy for touching his Lamborghini. Seconds later, he fixes it like a pro. The sun beat down on the glossy streets of downtown Los Angeles, where million-dollar cars gleamed like trophies in a showroom. People bustled by, some in tailored suits, others with coffee in hand, lost in the rhythm of their day. Among them, 13-year-old Mateo Alvarez walked quietly, his worn-out sneakers scraping against the pavement. He wasn't in a hurry, there was nowhere to be. Mateo had grown up on these streets, or more precisely, behind them. His mother worked double shifts at a nearby diner, and his father, once a mechanic, had passed away 2 years ago. Since then, life had become about survival. But Mateo never lost his love for cars. He didn't have toys, but he had memories of his dad fixing engines, teaching him about timing belts and torque, showing him how machines breathe, just like people. As he wandered past a trendy cafe, something caught Mateo's eye. A sleek, neon-orange Lamborghini Aventador, parked at an angle in front of a luxury boutique. The car practically purred in the sunlight. Mateo's eyes widened with admiration. He stepped closer, crouching to get a better look at the rear engine. "Hey!" A deep, mocking voice barked from behind. Mateo jerked back. A tall, sharply dressed man in a navy blazer strutted toward him, sunglasses reflecting Mateo's startled face. The man smirked, holding a cappuccino in one hand and a phone in the other. "You got no business touching a car like this," he sneered. "You can't afford to breathe near it." People nearby glanced over. A few chuckled. Mateo felt his face burn, but he didn't say anything. He just looked at the car again. "It's leaking," Mateo said softly. The man stopped, his smug grin faltering. "What did you say?" Mateo pointed to a faint trail of liquid near the rear tire. "Coolant. From the left hose, probably. You shouldn't drive it like that." The man laughed loudly, almost spilling his coffee. "Oh, you a little street mechanic now," he mocked. "Kid, this car's worth more than your whole life." More people had stopped to watch. The crowd was gathering. Mateo didn't move. "I'm just saying. You could damage the engine if it overheats." The rich man rolled his eyes and turned to the crowd. "Well, folks, looks like we got a genius on the street. Maybe I should hire him." Then suddenly, as if fate decided to intervene, the Lamborghini made a faint hissing sound, followed by a dashboard alarm. The man's face dropped. He stormed over to the driver's side, opened the door, and looked at the screen. The coolant warning was blinking. The man cursed under his breath. A few people in the crowd murmured in surprise. "Okay, genius," he snapped. "You think you can fix it?" Mateo hesitated, looking from the man to the car. "If you've got tools," he said, "I can try." The man scoffed, but pride pushed him to the test. "Fine. You screw it up, you pay for it." "I don't have money," Mateo replied. "But I won't screw it up." The man opened his trunk and tossed down a toolkit, clearly more for show than use. Mateo rolled up his sleeves, got down on his knees, and popped the rear panel open. What happened next stunned everyone. With the precision of a trained mechanic, Mateo identified the loose clamp, adjusted the hose, and rerouted the pressure to a temporary bypass. His small fingers moved with confidence, just like his father had taught him. Within minutes, he stood up and dusted off his jeans. "Try it now," he said calmly. The man climbed in, started the engine. The warning light was gone. The purr of the engine returned to normal. The crowd clapped. The man got out slowly, his expression changed, no longer amused, but stunned. Where did you learn to do that?" "My dad," Mateo replied. "He was a mechanic. Before he died, he taught me everything he could." The man looked down, speechless. The boy he'd mocked had just saved him a fortune in engine repairs, and possibly a dangerous breakdown. "I'm James," the man said finally, extending his hand. "James Granger." "Mateo," the boy replied, shaking it with grease-covered fingers. James stared at the boy's clothes, his shoes full of holes, the sadness in his eyes that went deeper than his years. A knot formed in his throat. Something shifted inside him, the walls of arrogance cracked. "Do you go to school?" James asked. "Not much," Mateo admitted. "I help my mom. She works a lot." James nodded slowly. The crowd began to disperse, but he remained, rooted in place by guilt and admiration. He pulled out a business card. "I own a car restoration garage a few blocks from here. High-end stuff. Real classic machines. We could use someone with hands like yours." Mateo blinked, unsure what to say. "I mean it," James added. "It's a paid internship. After school, weekends. And if you're serious about cars, I'll help you get into trade school later. No strings." Mateo looked at the card, his hand trembling. His father used to talk about dreams, big ones. But they always seemed too far for someone like him. Now, in the most unexpected way, they felt close. "Thank you," Mateo whispered. "I'd like that." James smiled for the first time, a real, human smile. He crouched down and picked up the boy's forgotten tool. "And maybe next time, I'll keep my mouth shut and learn something from you first." 2 years later, a sign hung over the door of the restored brick garage, Granger and Alvarez Auto Restoration. Inside, Mateo, now 15, leaned under the hood of a 1969 Mustang, surrounded by chrome, grease, and laughter. James stood nearby, talking to a client, proudly pointing toward Mateo. "He's the best we've got," James said. "Came to us by fate." The once mocking millionaire had become his mentor, and more than that, like a second father. Mateo's life had changed because someone saw his worth not in the dirt on his hands, but in the fire of his heart. Sometimes, it takes a broken engine to fix a broken perspective. And sometimes, the most priceless thing isn't the car in front of you, but the kid standing beside it, with a wrench and a dream.